Welcome to game 2 of my qualifiers. This is once again featuring my tricolor path deck, as it is for all these qualifier runs. This time, I'm up against red-black sort of raid archetype deck. Once again, I'm piloting my tricolor with paths and sort of my own version of a raid deck at this point. Yeah, it's very beefy, and we'll see, just how it stacks up against this. His deck is going to have a lot more removal and along the lines of like more traditional sort of black-red deck. So like you have definitely for black-red, he has, Troll, which is giving him Berserker Rage. He has, Duel from LC. You can't see some here for some reason, but he is deploying Tidehunter first. And he makes an unusual choice to deploy Tidehunter by the melee creep. So it turns out that this deck is actually running the Arms Master card, which is a way to buff up your Tidehunter. Thankfully, I have deployed in third slot for my Omni. I kind of thought that he would deploy a mid, but I was really fortunate in making this choice. And then the other deployments are, in a sense, I kind of messed up this deployment. Just because I put my Underlord here against Phantom Assassin, allowing him just to kill it one turn. If I had put my Omni Knight there, he's just shy without using a card. You can see he opts to play this Meatball Master and get +1 damage right away. So if my Omni had been here, he would have gotten +1 more damage. And every single turn he would be getting 2 damage instead of 1. If you have Arms Master and you're only getting 1 damage per turn, it's pretty weak because you have to commit a card every time. Like he, for instance, did not gank over here or anything. The main problem with Arms Master is it really just commits you to having, Tide, number 1, be in an awkward place, and number 2, casting a spell there every turn. So in this case, I kind of opt to put my Shadow Fiend up against Tide because I want to actually eliminate him. So my plan here is going to be to play Presence on Shadow Fiend and then heal him. So the Presence heal is going to kill this guy for sure. I actually really like playing this little creep. I think overall it's a little weaker than like a tier 1 deck should run. But, I've actually enjoyed and won a lot of games with this sort of deck before. It makes me wonder if it was just inspired by my older raid lines, which looks a lot more like this. But, regardless. In this case, I definitely want to illuminate it. It'll give SF 2 souls and bring him up to 6. You see, I go ahead and play the Presence. Here, I mean, you can see sort of problems kind of already mounting over here. So you can see my tower is going to be knocked down to 22 here without any changes here. So you'll see that that this is basically becoming a desperate race because of uninhibited Tide. In this case, I'm actually trying to pause to wait because I know he has 3 damage left, and I know that he would definitely want to cast something in this lane. So I'm thinking that he has Gush or something to do 5 damage. And what I want to do is wait to do a heal, so I pass it back to him, even though my plan is 100% going to be to heal here. Because the heal, it's going to take me up to 6 damage. It's going to take Tide down to 7. So I'm going to be just 1 damage shy of killing him once the heal goes through. But again, I'm willing to risk Tide get the +2 damage from like a Gush rather than like my SF die from the Gush, essentially, because if he does the 5 damage from Gush and brings himself up to 5, you know, with the heal, I'll just barely survive. Because the Gush is going to take me down to 3, the heal is going to take me back up to 6, and he's going to have 5 attack. So yeah, what ends up happening is that he sacrifices his character. He sacrifices PA for my SF, which, you know, SF is a higher value target, and now, you know, while he wasn't able to pump the damage on Tide this turn, he's still in a good position, you know. This left lane is abandoned. He's winning both mid and right. But, you know, we'll see soon that my deck is still resilient. Even though this has gone like very poorly, really. You'll see later on next game, there's like a much rougher like black starting, but this is like the ideal sort of starting plan for black almost. You know, are getting to remove the value heroes. The thing is, you just have to use your gold wisely from that remove. He's gotten double Midas Greaves, which I think is a little questionable. Like, it's very greedy. I think that if he hadn't done that, he probably could have had some better rounds here. So I've gone ahead and played my Presence of the Dark Lord on Tide, which is great. I really wanted that to go off with a proc in order to do the extra damage to Shadow Fiend. Otherwise, I probably would play Path of the Bolt here. So my plan is to be able to redeploy and Ravage with the Hourglass. I am probably going to go ahead and play Path again. At least at this point is what I'm thinking of, is to play Path. And that way, if I play Path, I'll kill Troll, and I'll kill Legion, and I'll bring this guy down to 1, which, you know, altogether is going to be really positive. As far as like what else is going on, he has a lot of options here, so he's weighing whether he's in this case, he opts to clear the deck. Usually clear the deck is like a combo card for Tide, but he opts to use it anyway, in a place where he's not guaranteed to immediately get kills. So what happens here, in fact, is that I decide I'm going to leave this lane, because all 3 of my heroes would die, and even though I could trade like 2 of them, I mean, I really don't have to, and I really can't afford to, you know, lose 3 heroes, because I'll basically have no options to like save mid lane or right lane. So I decide, you know, tentatively speaking, I'm going to just ditch right lane. Because, you know, fortunately, my Tide turn was able to just, you know, stop the Tide from getting his repetitive damage against here. So they're doing a lot less damage than they were anyway. And, like, Tide also got a couple minus damage on them and removed this hero.
We'll do this together!
So I opted to just put trebuchets here. And I could have healed, but I wanted to actually heal my guys, so...
Nothing can stop us!
Now that my Tide is bounced, I could bring him back to this lane that I abandoned. Which is exactly what I want to do, because now he, you know, doesn't really have a lot of damage opportunities here, and his Ravage can't even reach my Soil Con due to his like greedy positioning. Overall, pretty happy. So there was a lot of ways I could have played this out. Like, for instance, I could have put the SF here. He opts to coup right away, which doesn't really give him a lot of options as far as like other plays he can make this turn. It does give him basically, you know, almost positively going to take this down.
The all-seeing one knows your sins. Cast them aside and join me.
I decided to give my SF just a little bit more life and to make it worse value play for him to do like this. Oh god, here I'm kind of debating what to do, to be honest. Like, it's pretty sad SF with one soul, you know. Like on the one hand, like troll here only takes 1 damage, and we'll say that I just opt to go ahead and kill the troll. You know, I'll just take my chances as they come because I felt at this point that I just needed to go ahead and try, and we'll see that thanks to like untested grunts, I'm actually gonna be able to kill Legion Commander as well. So I was able to hold out and defend my tower in spite of losing my big red watermelon here.
Oh, what have I gotten into?
So, I mean, he has a couple options as far as escape route or proccing his... yeah, he does opt to proc his Necromastery, which, to be fair, it was good. It got him the tower, which is what he needed. But it does deny him use of Requiem for other turns, so, you know, overall, I was happy with that. At this point, you know, he's going to struggle to take tower number 2, though, because I've successfully stymied his mid, thanks to the teleport over there. And, you know, because he used that clear the deck earlier, he doesn't really have a clear for mid. So, Assault Ladders is giving me enough damage. He does play his other Smeagol Armor's Master here, which you can see just how big Tide is getting, even though, you know, I counted last one and things like that. I still want to take the tower, so pretty sure in this case what I'm doing is dropping away from, you know, I really wish I could keep my Underlord alive here so I could just port him to finish another lane. But there's not really any option for me to save him. So now he really opts to fully block my Sarla, which I found a little questionable. Like, it's okay that he wants to get his P into the game, but, you know, at the same time, it's just a bit weak. Just to use it as a blocker. So I opt to still play my Wayfinder, even though it's not going to push lethal damage right away. It will at least give me a 2-turn on the tower. So I think he actually opts to use this, which, you know, again, I'm not really sure that this full commit, you know, is that great, because what he's doing is leaving open the right lane for my SF. But obviously now he can stop pretty much all the damage. On the other hand, my Tidehunter was never able to Ravage, so it means the next turn he's just going to get completely ravaged here.
You can't hide from me.
And not only that, but I have 2 Path of Bolts, which means that I'm going to be able to do some significant damage and take out the tower anyway. Meanwhile, SF is slowly hitting this tower down. And additionally, like my tide is gonna bounce next round, so while things looked grim just recently by kind of like overcommitting to mid, um, unfortunately for him, he's really leaving open um, himself to the strengths of this deck, which is, like I said, it's Ravage and everything else. So see that I draw my top deck a clear, which is great luck for me. And you'll see why in a second, but it's basically like, now that I've ravaged him, I know that he's really dedicated to mid, and he also has this escape route, so I consider it extremely likely that he's just going to move one of these two heroes over to mid to try to cast. And the temptation, because Omni Knight is dealing damage to the tower, is going to be to block Omni Knight. Maybe a more cautious player would not have tried to block Omni Knight here, but I have a feeling this guy will. So because like Omni Knight, is solo doing the 6 damage, well 4 plus 2, which is basically ensuring, the tower is going to go down soon, and this guy is really getting the idea of this tower working. And you see he opts to do this, walking right into clear the deck. Clear the deck,
No one stands in my way.
It's essentially secured me this tower, like next turn if nothing else. And then I still have my Mortar Dagger left to play. So I could have Mortar Dagger here, but again, I knew I was going to take this tower with basically just another card. So my options here, I could heal, or actually Path will take me up because of the Assault Ladders, allowing this creep to hit over.
Hello, friend.
It's pretty rough for him. He still has enough mana to do a coup. He's sort of holding off on it. I'm not sure. I guess at this point he's pretty down to the dumps because he knows that he's not getting this mid lane, not with a 5 attack damage PA anytime soon. His deck does not really have a way to get PA a lot of damage. I do opt to just go ahead and drop my dagger here, which I kind of debated not doing because the play effect of dropping Mordred and killing something is so high, but it was giving me half the tower damage here, so this also gives me another thing, another soul. But thanks to once again Hourglass, which is just indispensable in this deck, I'm able to play floor heroes this round, and I'm sitting on a raid in hand. So unless he, and he doesn't have a block here, and he also was not able to take initiative because he opted to block the 10 damage last turn. So even if he hadn't blocked, if he hadn't blocked the 10 damage last turn, he still wouldn't have been able to
The Leviathan
use
rewards his
initiative
allies.
to stop me. But you can see I just, kind of pulled this one out of the fire, and it's basically just the strength of this deck over time. You get to feel out of the mobility from like Underlord, and GG's to my opponent, but I was able to advance to 2-0 at this point in the qualifiers. So next up is going to be qualifier game 3. Thanks everybody.